What's going on, everyone? So we are 3 days away from the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick doing their press conference, right? They're going to do a season introductory type of press conference where they're just going to answer questions and kind of, bring us up to speed on the offseason, right? Because we have media day on the 30th, and then you have the first day of training camp on the 1st of October. We were right there. We were literally like, 10, 11 days away or less, right? Eight days away, right? From training camp and 7 from media day. So I'm excited for that, but I'm also curious to how this press conference is going to go, right? Now, chances are we're going to get the, there was nothing out there in the new CBA, let me tell you about the new CBA, right? That is not an easy task, right? CBA, right? And I think it'll be I know a lot of people think it's just excuses. I don't really think it's excuses. I think it is the reality. But also, when it comes to these trades, right? What trade by itself that is available? Obviously, if you go get Steph or something like that, right? But I'm talking about between Bruce Brown, who's just had surgery, Jeremy Grant, Cam Johnson, Zach LaVine, all these guys. Who's that one move that makes the Lakers a contender? If you believe there is one, let me know in the comments. I don't believe there is that one move that makes them a contender, right? Again, I want a trade. I think the Lakers need a trade. But I also think that the Lakers need multiple trades. I think they need a Jeremy Grant or Zach LaVine and. I think that they need multiple pieces. They really want to move into that contention status. So if you can't put yourself in a position to do both of those trades shouldn't be there. I mean, the asking prices are insane, right? So many people talk about Zach LaVine and his injuries and whatnot, but Jeremy Grant is playing 50 games a season. Cam Johnson, the most he's played in his career is 66 games. Right? You're talking about nobody. All these guys are available for a reason. Right? I like these guys. I think Jeremy Grant makes us better, but I don't think he moves us into that top 3 to 5 conversation by himself. Now, if you get Jeremy Grant and, say, a Wendell Carter Jr., right? Now I think, okay, now you're in business. Now we're cooking. Let's go. Right? But the reality is, I don't think that there is that one individual move. I think the best move, personally, if you wanted to just do one trade, I think it's Zach LaVine. You get to keep all your pieces. All these guys are a risk regardless, but I think Zach LaVine gives you the highest ceiling raise to give you the best chance to potentially win. But no, you're going to get the whole, unless a trade happens between now and then, which is all, you never know, right? I mean, you look at the Rui trade, kind of came out of left field. Even the was a Jazz trade, right? That came out of left field. A lot of these trades come out of left field. So I wouldn't put it past the Lakers if they're working on something or they're in the lab and they're trying to cook something up right now. Now, they very well might not be. There might just not be anything out there. And all the asking prices for these guys, Jeremy Grant is not worth 2 firsts. Portland Trailblazer, literal insiders have been the Blazers are crazy for asking for 2 firsts. They should just be thankful that the Lakers want to take his contract on, right? That's Blazer people defending the Lakers in trades. Same thing with the Nets. If they want a first for Dorian Finney-Smith and all these guys, they want 2 firsts for Cam Johnson. It's you've been trying to get firsts for these guys for years now, and no one's bought. Why? Because none of them are worth it. It's just at what point do you start tearing it down? And look at Chicago. Chicago should have traded those guys years earlier. And they ended up getting nothing. They ended up just losing DeMar DeRozan. They got 2 seconds or whatever, which they probably end up including in a LaVine deal. Right? So they really got DeMar DeRozan for nothing, and they're probably still stuck with LaVine, right? So it's just a tough spot for them to be in. But in general, right, beyond that, right, I want to see and hear kind of the plans for guys, right? JJ Redick is going to be in that press conference, and there's going to be questions about his coaching, and I'm sure the practices and how training camp's going to go, and what he's mapped out and his coaching staff and all that stuff. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of gems and a lot of takeaways that we can dive into from that, which I'm definitely excited for. But I also want to hear, ideally, kind of visions for guys. Obviously, I don't necessarily need details because you don't want to let other teams be privy to what you're trying to do. But, I'd like to hear how we've heard a lot of reports and a lot of news about guys like Max Christie, right? And that he's going to play a lot. Okay, well, what's a lot? What's your plan? What's his role? Are you looking at him as like a Danny Green, KCP type player? Are you looking for him to be more expanded? For him to be able to kind of create for himself? Are you going to kind of give him the green light? You're going to kind of try to see if he's capable of kind of being your sixth man and be like, hey, we want to see if you can go get us 15 a night off the bench, right? Like Dalton Connect. It's very similar. It's like, hey, we want to see what's the plan? What's the role for him? Is it going to be light? Are you looking to play him heavily if he can kind of find his own and come into a shot and his shot creation and stuff? Obviously, LeBron and AD, right? Rui, Austin Reeves, like these guys, all we keep hearing is how much JJ Redick is going to kind of unlock these guys and that they're just going to take another step and Rui's going to become an elite rebounder and Austin Reeves is going to be the next Michael Jordan, and you just hear all these reports about how JJ is going to turn these around. But I think that this is a good opportunity to kind of get some insight in that regard, get some kind of information on what the deal is when you're talking about just the players on this roster, period, right? This team in general, right? And again, I get that this press conference is mostly going to be whatever questions. You're going to have some probably very silly questions because it's just the media, right? You see how many questions the media ends up asking. It's just like, what product do you use in your hair? It's like, I don't care. Like, can we actually get to the nitty gritty here? So I hope that there's some real hard hitting questions, right? I'd like to see some insight into JJ Redick, right? Him as a head coach, right? He did an interview, couple days ago now. Might even been a week. My days are all over the place. But he was asked about the 5-out offense, and he kind of dove into it a little bit and kind of talked about it. Did a video on it, but no, he just kind of relayed hey, it's there's more to it than that. It's people just think it's 5 guys spreading the floor, just jacking up threes, and he's like, no, there's a lot more that goes into it than that, and we're gonna run all kinds of different looks and variations. Those are the type of things I want to know. I want to know from a basketball standpoint. What is your defensive schemes? What's your offensive schemes? What are the things? What are the keys that you're going to be trying to hit on in training camp and preseason? What do you want to see from guys? What type of competition are you going to have in training camp? Are you what are your ambitions year one, right? And then same thing with Rob. Are you still doing your due diligence? Or are you just kind of we'll see what happens, right? Are you... I'm all for the patient game. I get it. Rob keeps preaching patience. He's probably going to preach patience once again in the interview, and I'm all for that, right? Again, I'm a very patient man, and I think patience is always the best approach because you never know what tomorrow could bring. Now, obviously, you don't want to be overly patient, but there's nothing really there right now. Like I asked earlier in the video, is there what one trade? Wendell Carter Jr., who, again, he's not a model of health. None of these guys have been models of health. Now, to be fair, the days of guys playing 82 games is pretty much over, right? Unless you're like Mikal Bridges or Austin Reeves. Players just don't play 82 games anymore, but still, you'd like to see some level of consistency in that regard. But how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. What are your thoughts? How do you feel? Again, first off, is there any one specific particular trade that you think is the move for the Lakers? What do you want to see in this press conference? Are you disappointed the Lakers haven't made a trade? Are you okay with it? You kind of yeah, hey, it's fine. No move is better than a bad move, which That's my kind of mantra, right? I'd rather them make no move than make a bad move, and now we're like, oh, great. So, again, how do you feel? Whatever your thoughts are. I loved it. Let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.